Alright, what is going on, guys? Another breakdown for UFC 268. This one's at middleweight on the prelims. We got Phil Hawes taking on Chris Curtis. Hawes going to have a 2.5 inch reach advantage. And this one was actually supposed to go down a couple weeks back. Curtis was going to step in on short notice for Deron Winn, who was originally matched up with Phil Hawes. And so I'll start with Chris Curtis. This is a guy who, if you follow MMA just in general, not just the UFC. Probably familiar with him. He's been around for a while, and he's racked up a lot of good wins on the regional scene. He's fought with PFL, and he's coming in riding a 5 fight winning streak. Beat a couple former UFC fighters in that run. Beat Juan Ramon Grano in Mexico. So he's been doing some things well. But then before that, he was on PFL, and if you watched last week, you see that he lost to the two guys that just fought for the belt again. Both these guys, Ray Cooper III and Magomed Karamov, I think. Jesus Christ, that is one of the biggest tongue twisters out there. But both those guys are solid UFC caliber. If you ask me, I think if you put them in the UFC, they would both probably be right around the top 15, if not higher, especially Cooper the third. And yeah, he lost both those fights, kind of got taken down, controlled. And then I believe the one against Magomed Kiramov, he broke his hand. And then the second one, he lost. But those are only 2 round fights, I believe, on the PFL show. So I only started watching it this year, and mostly just the playoffs. So I don't know. I think I've seen in tape before those are 2 round fights. And I believe that one was. And if I remember correctly, Curtis was kind of coming on strong at the end, it looked like. And I was just like, oh, I can't wait for the third round. And then that's when I learned that they're only 2 rounds. But yeah, he's a little susceptible to getting taken down off of single legs, I've noticed. And then once he gets down, he's not good at getting up. So it could be bad for this fight. But what he does well is he's a good boxer and he's good at just breaking his opponents down and getting attritive knockouts. Both these guys are like that, like they just march forward. But I think Curtis is just a little bit more on the attritive side, whereas Hawes is just kind of empties the tank, tries to get the quick finish, and if he can't get it, he'll try to just like clinch and wrestle, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, when Curtis is at his best, I would watch the Kyle Stewart fight, and I would also watch his Contender Series fight from a couple years ago, which was good. He did really well in that one against Sean Lally, and it was just Chris Curtis at his best, just walking forward, going to the body, southpaw stance, and then just setting up good offense up top, and then he will eventually land a crazy hook that will just put his opponent out. He's got great power. But yeah, I like the attritive work from Chris Curtis, and I'm surprised he didn't get a contract. I feel like if that fight happened in 2021, Curtis would have been given a contract. But yeah, you just go down the record here. Lots of good wins on the regional scene. This guy's been around for a long time. His losses are to good people too. Nashawn Burrell just won it on CFFC tonight against Kyle Stewart. Bilal Muhammad, he lost to way back when. So his last 5 losses are 2 UFC guys, and then or I say Burrell is a UFC guy. I think he will be, but he's looked good recently. So his last few losses are against good people. If you watch the regional MMA scene, and so that's pretty much the thing with Chris Curtis. Like he's coming in polished. He's not just like an 8-1 kid coming off the regional scene. And not all regional scenes are created equal. Like Chris Curtis has fought. It's not a regional scene, but PFL obviously like we're talking about. He's fought with CES, which is solid, and just lots of good, solid victories over the years for Chris Curtis. It's great to see him get a shot. And then Phil Hawes putting together a nice little run here, coming off a win against Kyle Dawkins. Before that, he beat Nasruddin Imavov, which is a great win. And yeah, he's 3-0 in the UFC, one on the Contender Series, and just dispatched of Jacob Malkoon. Crazy, just one combination put him out. And then against Imavov, he had to clinch a lot and wrestle a lot. But what I will say about Phil Hawes that I've definitely noticed is I think he has a very good fight IQ. He'll do what he has to do, and he seems to definitely come in with a game plan, strategize around his opponents, which you would think is a no-brainer, but a lot of guys are just like, oh, no, man, I don't fucking watch tape. Like, I'm just going to go in there. And it's like, I guess that works for some people, but you can tell that Hawes definitely watches tape on his opponents. And because, like, in the Imavov fight, Imavov does not take leg kicks well. Neither does Curtis. And Hawes was just attacking that leg early. And then he gets rocked by Imavov bad in the second. And then he just shoots for a beautifully timed double leg, gets it, and he won that fight with control in the clinch and on the ground. His takedowns are very well timed, and that's like I said, where the fight IQ comes in, gets rocked, and he knows he has to switch it up. But Yeah, that Amavov fight was a little bit troubling because he got hurt bad in the second, bad in the third. And I mean, Amavov's good, man. I'm probably going to pick him over Edmund Shabazian. Still on the fence about that one, but I think Amavov is solid, solid. Has a lot of upward mobility in the division. And he's like a long, lanky guy. And the same thing with Kyle Dawkins. That's probably the most complete performance we've seen with Phil Hawes. Kept his cardio, won the striking exchanges, though I think Dawkins can get a little labored on the strikes. He's not as good as a striker as his brother, and he's not as fast. And yeah, so Phil Hawes was able to just all around win that fight. I thought Dawkins has good submissions, but they didn't trouble Hawes. And yeah, Hawes definitely won the fight on the feet and on the ground. And I think it was just an all around really solid win for Phil Hawes. Got to give it to him. And this is a big fight for him. So the thing with this one, guys, is the line is just so crazy. You got Chris Curtis at plus 270, and you got Phil Hawes at minus 355. And while I while I would pick Hawes to win the fight because he's got good takedowns, Curtis has shown he's got trouble with takedowns, and once he gets to the ground, he gets held there. Hawes not bad at all at controlling his opponents, but he's controlled Dawkins and Amavov, who are both like lanky, and it can be tougher to get up. It's just like it's a good physical matchup for Hawes to get the takedown. I think against Curtis, it could easily get to a point where he's able to stop the takedowns. Because for what it's worth, like I know Curtis, I was just saying his takedown defense is kind of his weakness, but when it does hold up, that's why I said to watch the Kyle Stewart fight. I could see it going like that. Stewart just trying to get him down, wasting a lot of energy on the takedowns, while Curtis just chips away at the body, either when they're at range or just in the clinch, and eventually in the third round just comes up and knocks him out because Stewart was so tired. I could see that happening to Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes cardio has abandoned him at times, and he empties the tank a little too much. And I think that if he goes for the takedowns and he can't get them, it's gonna be big. So there's definitely a live betting opportunity here. But yeah, I mean, if this was like minus 155, I would be all over Phil Hawes, but it's just the at minus 355, I don't know if I could trust Phil Hawes against. I mean, I don't. I'm still waiting to see if Phil Hawes is worth being minus 355 against anybody. But Chris Curtis isn't just like some can off the regional scene. He's a very experienced fighter. He's fought high level guys, and granted, he's never beat like a great like up and comer, but he's gone toe to toe with them, and he's picked up wins against UFC caliber opponents. And I just think that there's a good live betting opportunity here too. So if Hawes wins the first round, but it's a lot of like clinch and like he's working for the takedown, he's not getting it, then you might be able to get a better price on Chris Curtis than we are right now. But at plus 270, I'm gonna take a stab at Curtis. I just think there's a path for him. But I mean, that's why it's 25. Like it could clearly be Hawes just has no trouble getting the takedown, has no trouble controlling him. Hawes has good hands himself. Curtis has been knocked out stiff before too. So neither of these guys have like an iron chin. And Phil Hawes could make this look easy and make it look like I should have put more respect on him. But it just comes down to a value standpoint. At minus 355, can't trust Phil Hawes, whereas at plus 270, I definitely see the path there for Chris Curtis, and I'm going to take a stab at it. But yeah, far from a sure thing. I just think that the value is definitely here. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe, and take it easy.